Rheumatoid arthritis. Should you move? Should you exercise? And what is that balance that you need to achieve so that you avoid a flare? Because that's the goal, is to avoid a flare, to feel good, and to feel normal. I'm Dr. Banasali, lifestyle medicine physician and rheumatologist. Let's talk about rheumatoid arthritis and the impact of movement. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disorder, and it sounds like it's an arthritis because that's what's in the name, but it can affect so many different parts of the body. What it is your own body is attacking healthy tissues in certain areas, especially whether it's the hands, the wrists, the feet, or the ankles. It can also go to elbows, shoulders, hips, and other areas. And almost 40% of people can have extra articular symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis, it affecting the lungs or the eyes or the skin or other places. So this is a systemic condition, not just wear and tear arthritis. Although you're more likely to get wear and tear arthritis because of the inflammation you've had at certain different areas. We have wonderful medications out there that can be very helpful, whether it's disease-modifying drugs or biologic medications, steroids, or anti-inflammatories. They can all be very helpful. But what can we do in our lifestyle that can improve outcomes for rheumatoid arthritis, or at least help people feel better? Actually, surprisingly, it's movement. So movement can be very helpful. When you have rheumatoid arthritis, it is not easy to have a sedentary desk job. And yet that's what a lot of people have nowadays. And they sit 8 to 9 hours at their desk all day, don't move very much. They're on the computer, typing away and answering phone calls. So that's fine if that's your job, but it would be helpful if you could get up every hour and stretch for about 2 to 3 minutes. And if you're having a meeting, use a hands-free headset and walk around while you talk if you're able to. I understand you cannot do this in all situations, but there are quite a few where you could do it. Now, some people have bikes, those partial bikes underneath their desk, or other movements, medicine balls that they sit on, or stretch bands, whatever works for you, but you really have to move. And before you say, my job won't allow it, just try, just ask, because it's important for you to get up so that you can perform well, you can feel better, and that'll help everything overall. Standing desks can be helpful in some situations, but don't also forget the ergonomic support, because carpal tunnel is pretty common, but even more common if you have rheumatoid arthritis. When you wake up in the morning, you tend to have more stiffness. If you've been driving around a long time in a car, you tend to have stiffness, sometimes to the point where you have to almost peel your hands off the steering wheel. Why is it so important that we recommend movement for rheumatoid arthritis? Is because it actually does help people feel better in general. Now, rheumatoid arthritis tends to be a condition where you have flares and remission. So you could be in remission for some period of time, and then you have a flare of the condition and then go back to remission. This is important because I'm going to talk about exercise and movement within rheumatoid arthritis. So if you're in remission, it should really be 30 to 60 minutes of aerobic activity at least 5 days a week. That's what's recommended by the CDC, and that's what we should follow for rheumatoid arthritis as much as we can. If you're in a flare and your flare happens to be in your hands, then you may not want to do activities where you're having your hands outstretched and doing a push-up like this, because it's going to hurt if it's in your hands and wrists. But you could maybe fold your hands over and do activities that way, though I wouldn't say during a flare is a good time to do those activities. There are other exercises you can do that are not concentrating on the small motor movements and the small areas within your hands. You would shift more to exercises targeting other areas of the body. But that doesn't mean even with a flare that you shouldn't move. You should. Here are 3 easy exercises that you could do. Just make sure that it's something that your own body can handle, because everybody can handle things at different levels. Number 1, you're at the grocery store parking lot and you can't find a space. That's okay. Park the farthest space away from the front door. This will help with low impact exercise as you walk across the lot. It won't stress you out because nobody wants to park far, and this extra distance can add up over time. Number 2, take the stairs. I know it's easy to get on an elevator and just go to your floor, but if you can, if the stairwell does not look dangerous, take the stairs. And I would say the same thing if you're in an airport and there's people walkers. If you can manage, don't use the people walkers. Walk around and just keep going. Number 3, toe taps. So when you're brushing your teeth, which I hope we all do twice a day, do toe taps. And this is keeping your feet active, and you're going to shift from foot to foot, do repetitions of 15 if you can manage it, and this will help with overall balance. I hope these help. Keep moving. I realize that telling people to park the farthest away in a parking lot when they have rheumatoid arthritis is not something people always want to hear. And it's not something they can always do either. It really depends on the person. But the point of it is to move. Low impact exercise such as walking across the parking lot is still movement. Whatever you have to do, make sure you stay mobile if you have rheumatoid arthritis. It really can make quite a difference in the end on how you feel. So what are some of the things that can be helped if you do more movement or exercise? So what can it help with? Well, it can reduce joint pain and improve your flexibility, which is really important in order to preserve function over time. It helps reduce stiffness, which is an actual part of the disease process, and people don't think about it, but stiffness is a sign of disease activity. So if all of your joints are totally stable, there's no inflammation that you can see in them, but you're stiff for 3 to 4 hours in the morning, that's a sign of disease activity. So we have to look for different ways to approach that. And one of them could be more movement. So if you travel a lot for work, there's hotel rooms that have gyms, you need to pack your sneakers. Increase flexibility and range of motion. So again, you need to preserve those joints over long term. You're gonna have rheumatoid arthritis. It's a chronic condition and it is there for decades to come. How are you gonna keep your motion? So controlled stretching and movement exercises are very important for rheumatoid arthritis, and it allows you to do your daily tasks more comfortably. Rheumatoid arthritis is also associated with chronic fatigue and depression. Mood changes are pretty common, and one way to tackle that aside from medication is movement, because that can boost your energy levels and overall feelings of well-being, which are really essential when you have this condition and everything feels like it's against you. And it improves immune system stability, which is always needed, especially with all the medications that people are on with rheumatoid arthritis. And of course, cardiovascular or heart disease. People with rheumatoid arthritis get heart disease, just like other people in the population. And you have a slightly higher risk because it's a systemic inflammatory process. So for that reason, if nothing else, all the other stuff you don't want to do, then do it for your heart health. Move and exercise, because we don't want cardiovascular disease to be a big problem even if you have rheumatoid arthritis. Don't ignore that and just focus on the arthritis, because your overall health is very important. Hopefully you've learned something today about rheumatoid arthritis and approaches with lifestyle medicine. Until next time.